Alright, everybody. Welcome to episode 306 of Psykos. Platters, always powered by coffee. Each and every time. Wanted to kind of, we're going to do a bunch of different variety episode today, okay? Things, health-wise, for me, come and go, There is a possibility I may have to get some more tests done. We will probably know this after the holidays. At least that is what has been hinted through my doctors and such. I don't want to go into it any more than that, at this time anyway. So, just please, when you have a spare second, to put me in your prayers, it'd be greatly appreciated. Okay? Just thought I'd mention that. I have got lots of stuff to show, but I'm not showing all of it today. I want to start off with, these are things that I have picked up in the last 2 weeks, I would say. Mostly through antique-y, flea market-y type stuff. Some of this has been on my want list for years, and other things are just, and one thing from Barnes & Noble, which I'll bring that up in a minute too, because I want to ask some of you guys in the VC about this, because I just literally picked this up in the last 24 hours, and I wasn't sure, and maybe you guys would know. But we start off with Mary Wilson from the Supremes made several books. Dreamgirls was the first one. I didn't know that she made more than one book. This one here, Supreme Faith, Someday We'll Be Together. That's right. You know what, I'm going to tell you something. Diana Ross was okay, but I like Mary better. It's the truth. It's the truth. I do not like, I like Diana Ross in the Supremes, but when it got towards the back end, like around 69, 70, she really turned the diva on a lot more. I just don't like her attitude. I really, really don't. And I think the last thing that I ever cared for was Missing You, which was supposed to be a tribute song to Marvin Gaye. I like that song. Other than that, I don't like anything she's made after that. But if she comes back around after all the nonsense for concerts and stuff, I'll go see Mary. This next one here, this one I was like, oh, I almost missed this. It says Amateur Night at the Apollo. Ralph Cooper presents 5 decades of great entertainment. So I'm kind of curious about this book too, because I've of course never been to the Apollo. I've only heard about the Apollo and it's make 'em or break 'em type venue. I do like David Bowie. I don't like all his work, but I like a lot of it. Of course, we're talking about, though, Backstage Passes, Life on the Wild Side with David Bowie, from his former wife, Angela. Okay, so those 3, I always check everything for autographs, because you just never know. Well, these next 2 surprised the hell out of me. I found this in like I said, an antique flea market from 1994. I'm still reading into it too. I only got through about a third of this. John Kay, Magic Carpet Ride, is autobiography, and I think I only paid $8 or $9 for this, but when I saw that it had that in there, I'm going, oh, you bet you're coming home to the mighty Psycho. Definitely. I like Steppenwolf, okay? I got to admit, I don't know a lot of John Kay's solo material, although I've come across a bunch of it over the last couple of years. I even come across some of the mid-70s stuff when they were on Epic. But to me, anyway, what, 1967, 68, 69 would probably be their golden years, in my opinion, for that band. And of course, even back then, he was talking about, and I guess he's getting ready to talk about in the book, about the bogus Steppenwolfs that plagued the late 70s and early 80s and such. I haven't gotten that far yet. Now this one here, like I said, this was the surprise, other than this one. So I'm at Barnes & Noble, like I said, in the last 24 hours. And, you know, I try to go there. I don't like the way they changed everything around. But I found for $7, although that's not what I paid for it, a copy of Robbie Robertson's testimony. Now, I've heard some decent things about this book. I don't know. I am a band fan. But I hate to say this, in my opinion, I think Robbie Robertson is who killed it. He killed the band, along with some other factors too, but he was a main instigator, okay? He just didn't want to do it anymore, which is sad, because the band were a hell of a band. Now, you guys know that I've already, from previous episodes, showed my signed Levon helm that I found in town. Now remember, I got this from a Barnes & Noble, and it had this sticker on it also, which was very, very strange. And we're talking about before the title page, so we're not even at the title page yet. And I find this. Now, I know you're sitting there going, well, so what, Mighty Psycho? Lots of people like to put their little autographs, you know, and it's printed that way. Number one, I know you can't see it very well, but this was in blue Sharpie, which is kind of contrast to what it is in the book. Secondly, and I know you can't see this either, but it actually goes through the next page and has imprints. In other words, I have a sneaky feeling that for $6.50, I came across a signed Robbie Robertson. I know that he did do some book signings at a Barnes & Noble, several of them actually, because I did quick research. Did I find one of these things? I hope so, because for $6.50, you're dang right. I'm going to go on. I would get those all day long. I would. Alright. These next ones here, all albums, okay. I have been, ever since I was, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, somewhere around there. Obviously, I was a big Elvis fan, but I liked a lot of 50s music. I still do, but that was when it was ingrained. It was in the mid to late 1970s for me. Well, to come across a 1955 in really decent shape, actually, I played this sucker the other day, from 1955, Rock Around the Clock. Yes, it is on an original black label, Decca. It is just, I'm happy to have this in the collection again, because the last copy I had I found in the early 80s, and it looked like it was trampled on by an elephant, but I bought it for the 10 cents, I think it was, or a quarter that I got it back then for, because I just wanted to have it. So, it didn't cost me no 10 cents or a quarter, but it did not break the bank here for this guy. So, being able to find that. Now, this next one is a bone of contention for a bunch of different people. We're still on topic here, though. Bill Haley, his hit days pretty much were from 1953 on Essex, Rock the Joint, to, of course, Rock Around the Clock, which got put out in late 54, but doesn't become a hit until around spring to summer of 55, okay, and goes crazy. But by the time around 1958 or so, okay, his hit-making years are almost dried up. He's big, popular in Europe and Mexico. Oh boy, I would love to find some of those Mexico records of his. In fact, I'm trying to look for some right now through some contacts, and I hope maybe I can get those south of the border rarities. That would be nice. But there was a lot of different people that right or wrong, declared to be Bill Haley's Comets. Bill Haley dies in February of '81. kind of sad end, really. Really, really. He had health issues, but there was other things mixed in involved. And his last high-profile gig was late 1979. He goes to perform for the Queen in England there. What are they, the Variety? Queen's Variety Show? I don't know. Royal Variety Show. In early 80, though, I am led to believe, he actually did go briefly back into England. And I saw some footage recently on YouTube of an early 80 England appearance. Still had the spit curl. But he dies in February of 81, alright? And all different people come out of the woodwork. Some legitimate, some not legitimate. This one I'm going to show you is a non-legitimate, alright? So I didn't pay the $7.99 for this. This isn't probably even worth $7.99. I haven't listened to it yet though, but I'm a little nervous. So this album that I'm going to show you, Bill Haley's Comets, We're Back. It was made sometime between 1983 and 1988. That is the best answer I can give you. Based on a small label out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, it says in front here and back, Bill Haley's Comets, We're Back, with Joey Rand, who happened to sign this thing. Joey signed it, and some other people did too. I can't figure out who the hell that is. But none of them were even members of the Comets at all. At any time were they members of the recording bands or live bands. There was over 100 members of the Comets in Bill Haley's lifetime. I did a little research. Joey Rand ended up in 1962. He cut a 45 for RV, which it's okay sounding, but he cut a handful of 45s between 62 and 70. Ends up in this. Okay, so he starts this out in 82. Surprise, surprise, there's another Comets band with John Bam Bam Lane, who was a drummer of the Comets from 65 to 68, and Al Rappa, who was the bass player for the Comets from 59 to 69. They go after his ass, Joey Rand's ass, and basically go and throw a cease and desist order. Last thing I heard about Joey, he's an Elvis impersonator in Canada. Go figure. But such a weird little album to begin with. So, to stay on a 50s bent but a little more current, I also happen to be a big Gene Vincent fan. I actually do, you know. I like Bebop-A-Lula, Race with the Devil, Blue Jean Bop, all that kind of stuff, okay? When I found these, now these have been on my want list for, 10, 15 years at least. When I found, and this one here is a cutout from late 69, early 70, Gene Vincent, I'm Back and I'm Proud, on Dandelion Records, which John Peel had some involvement in that label. But the musicianship on here, let me spit this out to you. This is produced by Ken Fowley, arranged and conducted by Skip Batten from Skip and Flip. He also was a member of the Byrds, late 60s, early 70s lineup, okay? Also, Red Rhodes. Where have we heard that name before? Pedal steel guitar extraordinaire who worked with Mike Nesmith and a bunch of other people. Mars Bonfire. Mars Bonfire was a member of the Sparrow, along with John Kay, who of course some of the remnants of Sparrow would turn into Steppenwolf. But Mars wrote some of the stuff for Steppenwolf, and he was a member of the Sparrow in 65, 66. Jim Gordon, of course, drummer extraordinaire. Johnny Meeks, who was a member of Gene Vincent's Blue Caps, and Skip Batten on here, like I said. This isn't a bad album. It's a lot more country tinged on it. The Bebop-A-Lula 69 is a little interesting, I'll tell you that. There's a couple good cuts off of here, but I still say it's not really a great album. And like I said, for that we go to, he does another album, this time for Kama Sutra, which was recorded in late 69, early 70 also. This next one here was his last album though, Gene Vincent, The Day the World Turned Blue, front and back. Gene supposedly recorded this thing, I want to say, late 1970. There's not a lot of information on this album, nor is there any information on session players on this. Although, oh yeah, another thing, I'm so sorry. Another thing that was thrown out there too for this album, and it's a slight possibility for this album, that Linda Ronstadt actually does some backing vocals on it, on one or two tracks on this one, and she might actually have shown up on this one too. I remember reading that in some music source too. Gene, unfortunately, though, would die in October 1971 after his Kama Sutra record contract ran out. There was a Rolling Rock Records was the name, and in early 71 they cut 4 tracks with Gene, and then that's the last supposed recorded work on that. These next ones I picked up either free in trades or, well, actually they all were free in trade, which was nice. Mary Hopkins, Earth Song, Ocean Song. Everybody's used to the Goodbye album. This is on Apple Records. Nobody really of note plays with her on this. There's no Beatle involvement like there was with the first one, you know, where Paul was involved. But I wanted to get this anyway. I wanted to end up getting, I think, all the Apple Records stuff eventually. Okay, whether it's Beatle related or not. I just like the spectrum on the label. This next one here, picture disc from 1978 on Bearsville Record. Liar Set the World on Fire. Now, Ronnie Dark, Wax Museum, has said that this album is an excellent power pop album, and I cannot wait to hear it. Like I said, there's your lineup on here, but I didn't even know they made a picture disc for this, so that was kind of awesome. This next one, Dixieland Farm was talking about Jethro Tull and Procol Harum, is one of his most recent videos. Well, I picked up a copy of Stand Up shortly before I saw that video. I always liked this. I like this album, but of course I wanted this. That's why. I know, I'm not too much for gimmicks, but I like it. Now, I showed this to Doug. He tells me it's a second press. He says that the first press is a steamboat, but it's a different color. Is he right? Because, I mean, I could have sworn that being that this is 1969, that this could be this color. I just don't know. But I love early Jethro Tull. Honestly, I think Heavy Horses was probably the last truly decent Tull album, but I bought all the way up to Broadsword and the Beast from '82 before I kind of just gave up for a while, because to me it just seemed different. I really wish that Ian Anderson and Martin Barr would mend fences again. Ian's the one that killed Tull, though. He mentioned it in an interview, and so did Martin. Also here, I've been wanting this for quite a while, from 1969. That's right, Jackie Lomax on Apple. Is that what you want? Well, is it? And with this one here, you've got what I call threedle involvement. You've got Paul, George, and Ringo are on this album. Also Eric Clapton. I think Leon Russell's on here. There's a bunch of people on this album, and I cannot wait to hear this. I have not had a chance to hear it other than Sour Milk Sea, which of course George made a demo for the White Album for this. Alright, so shout out wise, Sack Blabbeth, new subscriber, and so is Benjamin Mead, who also owns Cosmic Cowboy Records out of Fayetteville, who produced the last Nectar album release from 2020, The Other Side, which I reviewed. We'll have a bunch of other episodes coming up. I do still want to do a Van Halen one, but I've got a bunch of stuff still moving around here. I really would just like to get some of my facts more assembled before I do the video. But you know what? Put in the comments if there's anything you really want me to touch on when I do that Eddie Van Halen tribute video, okay? There's some interesting releases that I've just recently heard about, and one coming up from the band, but it's radio show broadcasts. Okay, the one that I have heard, I cannot remember if it's Japanese import, Osaka 1979 supposedly is coming to a release of some sort. I did also pick up a bunch of 45s, but we're going to share that for another different episode. And the next episode we're going to do, if I didn't have it all the way across the room, I would go grab it and show you. Firefall has got a new album. Yes, first one in 25 years, called Comet. And I will be giving that a review. 3 original members. Jock Bartley, Mark Andes has returned, and so's David Muse. So you've got 3 original members of Firefall, along with a handful of guests. A former Doobie, a member of Pure Prairie League, and others are going to be on that release. And we'll talk about that too. Also, if you haven't checked out my Doug Feiger review video, go please do that. If you love power pop, I would behoove you to go get that from Sunset Boulevard Records. I think you will love that. Also, I should be getting in the mail here in the next week or so that new Peter Tork release for 7A. We'll have lots of fun stuff to talk about over the next couple of weeks. And you know what? I hope you guys are doing good for the holidays. You know, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Mine was nice and quiet. I liked it that way. I hope Christmas time goes well for you all, and just all that, okay? Spend time with your family if you've got that option. Just spend time with the ones you love, okay? Because you just never know. Nobody guarantees it tomorrow. Nobody. As you're like, God, Mighty Psycho's a bummer. Nah. I'm just telling the truth is all. I love you, VC. Take care, God bless, rock on, and I'll see you soon.